This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so good morning, guys. Good morning, all. Yes, good afternoon. Okay, so I hope my voice is clear. I hope my voice is clear. So around 60, only 44 are joined. Okay. Okay, guys. So yes. Okay, so today 10th CBC results has came. So just now they got the results. So I hope your friends, your brothers, sisters will have been told you the results. Is any one of your friends, brothers, sisters studying or completed 10th and joining 11th? CBSE, Central Board syllabus. Okay, just for your information. So today 10 CBSE results has been published, and right now they publish the results. Okay, fine. Okay, so let's start our session. So in the last session we have seen about what is JDK, what is JVM, what is JRE, what is garbage collector, what is API. So I hope you all know about what is API. So yesterday in the lab session also I have told you what is API and how it's used. Is the inbuilt library files which already exist. That is called API. That is my application programming interface. So if I want to program anything in Java, then I have to use my API. Yes, guys. Yes. So, sir, then C doesn't have API. If C doesn't have API, C++ doesn't have API. C and C++, does it have API or not? or in the sense it is called as a library files. In C, we'll be calling it as a library files. Does C and C++ have library files or not? Guys, I hope my voice is clear and I'm audible. And Tejaswin, I hope you got your Edmatrix login.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so in that you'll be having your roll number, correct? So 20 CS 301 302 303 like that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, you can use that roll number for your login. Okay, just rename your go-to meeting with your roll number. So 20 CS 301 or 302 303 like that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, guys. Okay, so you guys tell me. So whether C and C++ having this library files or not. Okay, so I'll be just switching off my video. Okay, thank you. Okay, sir. So yes, my question: does C and C++ have library files or not? Yes, it is having library file, but why it is not popular? But why? So does we know what are the packages available? What are the library files available in C? Actually, when compared to Java, C and C++ has more packages. Has more packages than Java or any other languages. But can we able to access all the packages in C? Can we able to see what are the methods that are available in C? Can we able to see that? And can we able to understand it? If and only if the developer of that package is telling it, or if we are going to search for any online resources, we doesn't know what application, sorry, what package is that and what function is that. Is it true or not? Yes. I hope everyone can understand my point. Without the developer's knowledge, we cannot able to access that package. So that is the main drawback in C. So Java has considered that, and they have given this API as an open source. So yesterday I have opened you and show you what is this API, what is the documentation for API, documentations for API. So I have shown you this, and also I have shown you how to create our own API, our own application programming interface. So which will help others to understand our program easily, and they can also use our methods easily. Yes. So this is the one advantage which give all the developers to migrate from C to Java. This API and open documentation. And open documentation is one of the main reason which made the other developers to think to move from C to Java. Because yes, C has more library files when compared to Java, but it is not open. If and only if we are go and see for each and every packages that are available, we have to go and search for the specific files, and we have to go and search for our own methods that are inside the package. If and only if the developer has given me the document, then I can use it. If it is not available, then I cannot use it. So that is the main drawback in C. That drawback is overcome by Java by using this open documentation of API. So that is the API, application programming interface, which helps me to use all the classes, all the packages efficiently, more efficiently. Yes, this is also one of the reasons why Java is preferred over C. Yes, sir. I hope everyone is understand what is API. What is API? Is API? Is everyone is clear with API? Yes. Thank you. So next is garbage collector. Sir, garbage collector. What is this garbage collector, sir? So what is my garbage collector? So what do you think of the garbage collector? Okay, so guys, is there representatives are there? Class representatives? Class representatives. Okay, if you're there, just post a message to your friends that more than 10 are absent. I don't know whether they're joining or not. Just please intimate them. Join fast. Okay. Okay, and also I have tried to create one separate course for Edmatrix, but it was not a policy. It was not. They have I have talked to the course coordinator, but they didn't approve my request. So we have to go with the Google Classroom only. So no other go. So I'll be sharing this classroom link uh, in Google Meet in the chat box right now. So join with this link. First join with this link. Later we can go for the next session. So we will be seeing about garbage collector. I hope everyone has got the link. So total 47 members are there. I want everyone to join this. So I thought of creating a separate Edmatrix course and share all the contents there, but they are following a standard operation procedure, so which is not accepted by them. So they want me to use the same procedure that they are all using. So we have to stick with that policy. So we have to go with Google Classroom. So there's no other options. So I want everyone to open this link and join with this Google Classroom. Yes. So only 23 has joined. Twenty-eight. Yes, we have a meeting link over there. We can also use that meeting link. But let's see how it goes. I hope everyone has joined. Only 48 are there, but only 30 plus has joined. Guys, only 36 has joined. I'm still waiting. So totally 48 are there. Still 12 has to join. Those who arrived now, I'm sharing the link again. I will share the link again. Those who joined late, I will share the link again. Join first.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning. Who's this? Yes, Vinit. What do you want? Guys, only 38 has joined. I don't want to tell the names. That this person has joined, this person has joined. I don't want that. I want everyone to join fast. Because that won't be necessary. I hope so. and also your syllabus has been already shared, and the first PPT will be shared after this session. I'll be sharing the first PPT. Maybe from tomorrow or day after tomorrow, we can start with this Google Meet link so that it will be used for you and also for us. So because all the recordings will be available for in the classroom itself, Google Classroom itself. Okay, let's discuss about that later. I will also be uploading all the previous 3 sessions video in the Google platform, so Google Classroom, so that you can access it there. Okay, fine. So let's move into the session. So we are going to see about garbage collector. So what is my garbage collector? Any idea about garbage collectors? So before that, Vinod, do you have anything to share, or else you're just joined now? So it was Vinith, correct, who spoke me. Okay, someone has said. Okay, fine. So guys, I'm sharing this link. So if he is absent, just please share the link to him so that he could also be able to join. And also placement coordinators, sorry, class representatives, share the link to your friends so that I want everyone to join. So totally 60 members are there in the session, actually in the class, but only 42 has joined the class. Please tell them if any information is not passed, but I'm not the person. I'm not responsible for that, because you have to join this session, join the classroom so that I can share all the information there. Okay, fine. So okay, so now we are going to see about garbage collector. So garbage collector, in short, it will be called as GC, garbage collector. So any idea about garbage collector, sir? Any ideas about garbage collector? Good, good. Cleaning up unused resource. Correct. So in C and C++, if I want to delete an object, if I want to remove a variable, so for example in C, I have created a variable like this, int count, count equal to 0. So I'm just using some function to increase this count. So I'm just keep on increasing this count until I'm checking one condition. After the condition is satisfied, I'm just leaving this variable, and I'm going for my next variable like int count 2. So what happens is this count variable remains as it is in my memory. This will not be removed until the process is getting over. Until the main process is going to get over, this variable will always be there. This will not be removed from my process or from my memory. So what happens is, if I want to remove this memory, then I have to specifically use a function called free to remove this variable. So after I'm using that variable, and after that there is no other way that I am not using this variable. I'm not going to use the same variable again. So I can remove this variable or remove the memory by using a function called free. So this is a mandatory part a person should have do. Developers should manually do it. Manually, we have to do it to free a memory. If a developer is forgetting to remove a memory, then what happens is it will be running as a stagnant memory, and it will be occupying memory. If suppose I'm just studying for an example, and I'm keeping as a variable for loop I less than, so suppose I am keeping it as a 10,000 and I plus plus, and inside my loop I'm starting to create a variable. What happens if I have used a statement like this? What will happen? It will keep on creating new variables, and this variable will be present, and it will not be removed So because there is no free function has been called, so this memory will always be there inside my main memory. So which makes my application a little bit slower, correct? Which makes my application as not memory efficient. Is it true or not? Is it true or not? Yes. So this is also one drawback this Java developers considered in C. So we have to manually remove these variables. So I don't want to use these types of variables initialization. So I don't want to use like this. So I don't want to create, or I don't want to use this function manually. So manually I don't want to use this function. So what they did is they created this method as a separate class. So that class is called garbage collector. Garbage collector. So that is the garbage collector's value. Okay, sir. Then how this garbage collector works, sir? How it works in the sense, all the main process that is actually running in my system. So maybe I can explain you with this. So I'm just creating a new file. So consider this is my main memory. So consider this is my main memory. So I'm just making this as my main memory. Okay, so I'm just zooming in. So consider this is starting address is 0000 and my end address is going to be until my process is going to get over. So it is going to be something like 0x. So here it is going to be 0x f something. I'm just keeping an address like this. Suppose I'm running a two process. Suppose I'm running a 2 to 3 process. So consider this is my main process. This is my main, and also I'm having another one more main. So this is also going to be another one main process. So what happens is the objects that are created by these variables will be mapped to this. So for example, if I have an object like this, so here I'm having a count 1 and here I'm going to have a count 2. See, everything will be inside my main memory, but for your representation I'm just creating it outside of my main memory. So it will be like a tree structure. It will be like a tree structure. So okay, so just okay. So if I'm using count 1, then okay, it will be like this. So count 1 and then count 2 and then count 3. Sorry, my spelling is wrong. So like this, it will be linked to my main process. The variables that I'm going to use will be linked to the process. Similarly, these process will have. So this is one process and this is one more process. So this will also have these type of variables. So consider this is going to be a variable 1 and this is going to be variable 2 and this is going to be variable 3. So I'm having different processes with different variable names. So whenever the process for this variable is completed, so what happens is, so this will be linked like this. So this one will be linked like this one will be linked like this, and this one will be linked like this. So guys, I hope my screen is visible and able to see. Okay, sir. So what happens is, so there are many processes running, and these variables will be occupying memory inside my main memory. Yes. So once this count 1 has done its process, now I'm not going to use this variable again and again. What happens is the link between these variable will be removed. Yes, once the function gets over, all the memory that has been assigned to this function will be removed automatically. So that is the way that we have learned it, correct? But the memory will be existing there. So what happens is the link between the variable and the process will be removed. Because if I'm going to access for a new function, again a new memory will be created at different parts. So like this, if I'm again calling the same function, then again a new variable will be created at a different memory, and this memory will be linked to it. So the previous memory which this function has created will not be used again, correct? So the link will be removed between these functions. Can you able to understand this? If I have processed this variable and I'm not going to use this variable again, what happens is the link between this variable and the process will be removed. It is an automatic process. It is not, it is same as my C or in any language. Yes, can you able to understand this? Yes, can you able to understand this? Yes, guys. Yes. So similarly, if this variable has completed its work, then this link will be moved. And similarly, if this variable has completed its work, then this variable will be removed. So what happens is, so now you can see only these count2 and count4 are linked to my main, and variable 1 and variable 2 are linked to this main. So these are the process that I'm going. So what this garbage cutter will do is, will come and check for all the process that are running in my system. So right now there are two processes running, and what happens is it will check. So what are the variables or what are the memory that these processes link? So right now only count2 and count4 are linked to my process. Similarly, this variable 1 and variable 2 are the main memory which has been linked to my this process. So these two process is going to occupy these two variables. And what are the variables that are not used? What are the variables that are available inside memory which are not linked to these process? So what happens is this will be marked, and this will be marked. This will be marked, and similarly this will be marked, and similarly this will be marked, which states that these marked variables are in use for this memory or for this process. So what are the variables or what are the memory which are not marked, in my process will be automatically removed. So this one is not marked, so it will be removed, and this one is not marked, so this will be removed. This one is not marked, so this will be removed, and this is marked, so it will be used. This is also marked, this is also in use, so this will be marked, this will also be in use. This will also mark, this is also in use. So this is called mark and sweep algorithm. So this is called mark and sweep. So garbage collector. So garbage collector uses mark and sweep algorithm to clear unwanted memories. To clear unwanted memories. Can you able to understand this? So what algorithm does garbage collector use to clear all those unwanted memories? What algorithm does garbage collector use? Yes, mark and sweep. And one more thing I want to add it. So this mark and sweep algorithm was used till Java 8. Java 8, that is Java 1.8. Up to this, they uses this mark and sweep algorithm for garbage collector. After Java 8, so after Java 8, that is after, so from Java 9. So from Java 9, they started to use G first, G1. So this is called garbage first algorithm to clear this. So it should be very similar to this mark and sweep, but instead of having a threshold value, what happens is they will be taking a timestamp. So G first algorithm. So after Java 9, they started to use G first algorithm. It is called garbage first algorithm to clear all this memory. So up to Java 1.8, they use this mark and sweep algorithm. After 1.8, what they use is they use this G first. So this was developed by Oracle. And this mark and sweep algorithm was developed by some person. I don't know if I forgot the name of that person, but this algorithm was used by some other. It was created by some other person. But this GFirst algorithm was its own Oracle algorithm. So which takes a timestamp. Which takes a timestamp of the memory. Which happens is, so see here. Okay, sorry. So this will take a timestamp image. So it will take a timestamp image for my memory. So for 15 minutes, for 30 minutes, for 45 minutes, and for 60 minutes. Like this, it will take a timestamp, and it will have the variables that are connected to this variable, these main functions. So if it is going to be 15 minutes, all the 4 variables will be linked. All the 4 variables for my main one. So main one will have all the 4 variables, and main 2 will have all the 3 variables. Correct? So after in 30 minutes, what happens is only 3 variables will be linked, and here it will be only 2 variables will be linked. So it will take a timestamp of this memory and check which are the memory are linked to the main process. The same mark and sweep process, but it will check in a count type. So now what happens? So after 30 minutes, after 45 minutes, so only two variables are linked to my main process, which is count 2 and count 4. Before that, I have count 1, count 2, count 3, so and count 4. So total four variables are there. So first I have removed this count 1. So after 30 minutes, only three variables, that is count 2, count 3, and count 4 are linked to my main process 1. And in main process 2, this variable 3 has been removed. So only two variables are linked to it. So similarly, after 45 minutes, only two variables are there. And after 60 minutes, only two variables are there. So once after a specific duration, this time will be given by the developers. So at what time this garbage getter should invoke. So we can manually invoke this garbage getter, or else we can fix a threshold value. So based on the threshold value, this will automatically clear. So see here, so up to this, so I'm taking is a 1 hour time. So 1 hour duration. So what happens is these two variables. So this main process 1 is not going to use, see after this two, after an interval of 15 minutes, so that the number of variables going to be used is not going to change. So initially it has four variables, but now it has only two variables. So what happens is the remaining two variables are considered as a garbage value, correct? Because these two variables is going to be used for a long term, and these two variables which are not going to be used. So what happens is these two variables will be removed. Similarly, in main 2, so this two variables alone is going to be keep on running my process. Yes, and the one variable which is not going to be linked is going to be automatically removed. So this is the timestamp that they use. So this is an example timestamp. This is not going to be an exact timestamp, but this is how the GFirst algorithm works. This is how a GFirst, that is garbage first algorithm, works. Yes, can you able to understand this? Is anyone having any doubts on this? Garbage collectors and GFirst algorithm, mark and sweep algorithm. Yes, guys. So totally 50 are there, and I hope everyone has joined in the Google Classroom. I don't know. Maybe you can see here. Yes, so 50 is joined. 51 is joined. Good. And still 9 more persons has to join. Still 9 more persons has to join. I don't know who are all absent. So just tell them to join. Okay, guys. So this is what you want to know about garbage collector. Is anyone having any doubts in this garbage collector? So understand this mark and sweep. So this was used before 1.8. After 1.8, so G first, that is garbage first algorithm is used. So mark and sweep was developed by some person. I can't remember the person's name, but G first was developed in Oracle. It was its own algorithm, Oracle's own algorithm. Is G first algorithm or garbage first algorithm? Is that clear, guys? Is that clear? Anyone having any doubts in this? Okay, did everyone tried that creating your own documentation? Yesterday I have shown you the example how to create your own documentation, correct? Yes, so I'm going to create a new file. Yes, everyone tried it. So how to create your own documentation, Java docs command. So there are the commands that are present inside my developmental tools. Garbage collect, say Java docs and Java C, Java and Java X, Java AWT. So like that, these are the commands that are used to develop an application. So these are the commands that are available inside my development tools. So as I mentioned earlier, in JDK there will be JRE plus development tools. So JRE consists of JVM, API and garbage collectors, whereas my development tools contains these developmental processes. That is my Java compiler, Java executable file, and then Java document commands, and then Java X, which is used for web application, the Spring syntax. So a command to run my web applications, and also Windows based applications, that is AWT. Yes, so these are the commands that will be available inside my developmental tools. I hope everyone is clear with that. Yes, anyone having any doubts in this garbage collector, JVM, JRE, JDK, API? Yes, guys. Is anyone having any doubts? You can ask me now. Or else we can start with our first topic. Okay, let's start with the basic program. So I'm just creating a class. So give me a class name. Give me a class name so that I can create a class. Okay, student. Okay, let's keep this as a student. Okay, class student. So this is our Java program. This is an example Java program. I hope you already know what is this, but I'm going to explain you what is this. What are the each keywords is going to do. Public static void main string args. I'm just printing. Just a simple welcome message. Okay, sir. So to save a file, to save a Java file, what we'll be doing? So file, save. So file should be in a format of, it will be default, it will be in UTF-8. So here I have to save it in the class name. So I'm just saving the same class name, student.java. Sir, is it compulsory that my file name should be in same as class name? Is it compulsory? Is my file name and class name should be in same? No, it is not compulsory. No, it is not compulsory. It is not compulsory. We can have the file name as different. See, I can create this file name as test.java. I can save the file name as test.java. Actually, it is not compulsory. But if you are using like OpenJDK like that, which I'm using, so for that type of JDKs, maybe it is required. But for Oracle's JDK, it is not required. Okay, let's check this out. So maybe okay. Okay, where is the okay day 4? So I'm just going to this path, so CD. So here Java C. So just I'm zooming in. So maybe is this is it visible or do I have to change it? Is it visible or do I have to change it? Okay, done. Thank you. Okay, so here I'm just calling this test.java. LIC. I have misspelled it, so I have to use it as PUB LIC, public static void main. So I'm saving it again, and again I'm compiling it. So Java C file name.java, file name.java. So after compilation, what happens is you can see here a student class file is created. This class file is created in this class name. Class name. Can you able to see this? So maybe I should use a magnifier. So see here, the file which we created is test.java, and this is a Java file. And after compilation, what we created is a student class file. The class name which we use is a student class, So the class file has been created as a student. So can I have a multiple class inside the same file? Yes, we can have a multiple classes inside the same file. So we can have any number of classes. Yes, sir. So right now we have created this class file that is a student. So if I want to run it, then I have to use the command Java to run and followed by the class name. That is student class. Okay, sorry. So if I run with this class name, that is student, like that I have run this. Correct? So Java followed by class name, student, student. So which will execute the commands inside my class. So right now I have given only one statement, that is welcome to oops class, that is U19CS203 oops. So that is the only statement that I have given inside my class. Yes, I'm just running that class with Java student, which will execute this statement. Yes, yes, guys. So don't think that always my file name should be same as my class name, because this is also one interview question they'll be always asking. Yes, my class name should be, sorry, my file name should be the same of a class name. No, it is not. Yes, yes, guys. Is that clear? Is that clear? Okay, sir. Now we are going to see what is this. What is this? What is this? What is this class? What is this class? What is this student? Sir, what is the class, sir? Yes, Sasireka. Is sir class apna enna solunga sir. So what is by class? Can you know what is by class? You can unmute and you can talk. Yes, Vinith, you are not using a proper roll number. You should use a proper roll number 20 CS 166 like that. Vinith Krishna. Vinith, you are not using a proper roll number. Use a proper roll number. So 20 CS 166. If that is your proper roll number, don't just give it as 166. Yes. Okay. Yes, I got an answer. Sir, blueprint for creating an object. Sir, don't give a book specific definition, sir. User define where objects are created. சார் இதெல்லாம் வேணாம் சார் எனக்கு. சார் எங்கேயாவது இந்த மாதிரி நம்ம சேம் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர் பார்த்துருக்கோமா சார்? இதே மாதிரி ஒரு இது. So for example, see what is the student? What is the student? It's a class name. Correct, sir. So yes, as your friend suggested, is also going to be user-defined data type. So user-defined where objects are created. Yes, as your friend Sneha has given an answer, like it's a user-defined. Yes, sir. Every class is a user-defined. Okay, sir. Apo, did we see this user-defined in any other part? User-defined data type. Have we came across this word in any other language or any other part? Sir, user defined data type. எங்கேயாவது நம்ம கேள்விப்பட்டிருக்கோமா சார் இதுக்கு முன்னாடி? Did we come across this word user defined data type before class? Have you seen anything as user defined data type? I hope everyone has completed C, Python. C and Python. Language C and Python. Yes. So C Pythonல எங்கேயாவது இந்த மாதிரி user defined data type நம்ம எங்கேயாவது பார்த்திருக்கோமா? Did we came across anything as user defined data type in C and Python? User defined data type. Guys, are you there? See, int, char, float. So these are predefined data types. Predefined data types. This will be already available or it will be already created inside my language. Okay. Arrays, pointer. Yes, I got one answer. Structure and union. Good. Sasireka. Good. Good, guys. Structure and union. So that is the actual user defined data type. Yes, user defined data type. So we'll be creating a user defined data type. So in structure, we'll be creating a structure like this. Struct student. So inside it, I'll be collecting all the variables that will be related to my student. So roll number and then int mark one. So similarly, I'll be having this. So I'll be having so many variables. After that, I'll be creating a variable for this. So that is going to be struct student s1. Yes. So this is the way that we'll be creating our own data type. So which is very similar to my int a. Correct. So a is a variable which is going to represent, which is going to store an integer value. Similarly, s1 is a variable which is going to create a student variable, student data. Correct. So this is a user defined data type. Yes. Can you all able to recall that? In C, we have seen this structure and union. Yes. Every class was a advance of my structure. Every class that what we are going to see in Java or Python, any language, class is migrated from this structure. The only difference is this structure has only variables, which has only variables. But my class or this class can have both variables and also methods. And also the methods. Both the combination of variables and methods is called as my class. It is migrated from my structure. Can you all able to understand this? So the same formula which we use here is going to be applied for all these classes. The only thing is this class can also have a method in it, method inside it. Method in the sense a function which can be added inside it. So suppose, see here, this is going to calculate CGPA. If I am adding a function in this, then the structure is not going to be a structure. It is going to be a class. So this is how a class has been created. This is how a class has been migrated from my default structure towards my class. The added advantages, apart from variables, it also can have these methods. Can have any number of methods. It can be added. Yes. So this is how a class has been evolved from my structure. Always remember this, class is evolved from my structures. Structure or union. It's a user defined data type. So class is a user defined data type, and also class is a keyword to represent. So similarly in C, how we have a keyword called struct, struct. So this is a keyword which is going to tell my compiler that I'm going to create a user defined data type. So similarly, class is also going to be a keyword to represent my compiler that I'm going to create a user defined data type. So this is a keyword, and also it is a user defined data type. Yes, can you all understand what is by class? What is meant by class? Okay, sir. Can you all able to understand this? What is meant by class? Yes, sir. Super, sir. So then I can also add this. What is my object? Can you guys look around you? Just look around you, and can you able to find out any objects that is within you, that is nearby you, or whether you are holding it, whether you are seeing it? Can you tell me any objects that you are looking in it? Tell me any objects that you are looking right now. Objects. Laptop. Good. Good. I can get note. I can get pen. I can tell us phone. Correct. Now we are going to see in detail about this. Okay, sir. So many has given you as a laptop, phone, note and pen or book, anything. Correct, sir. So what type of laptop are you are using? See, laptop is a generic. It is going to represent all the laptops. If I'm going to hold a HP laptop, or if I'm going to hold a Dell laptop, or if I'm going to Asus laptop, or if I'm going to have a any laptop, it is going to be a generic word. Yes, but the type which I'm holding, what it is, the type which I'm holding. Yes, any type, correct? The type may be different. So what happens is, so this is my class laptop, class laptop. So this laptop can have different variables. One is, I'm just going to tell it is a type. So type may be of, it may be of either an Asus or Acer or HP or Lenovo or anything, correct? So it may be of MI. So like that, there are different data types. So different types of laptops. Similarly, each laptop has its own memory, like hard disk memory. So hard disk, it may be differ from each laptop. So some can have 500 GB, some will have 1 TB, some will have 2 TBs, correct? Or 2 TB, or some will have 4 TB, 4 TB memories. Similarly, RAM. So some will have 2 GB RAM, some will have 4 GB RAM, some will have 8 GB RAM, or some may have 16 GB, correct? 16 GB. Yes? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, can you all able to see this? So these are some variables that I'm going to do. Okay, sir. So now I'm also going to hold up, I'm going to hold a processing memory. Or I'm sorry, before that I'm going to add this, what is it? Mm, okay, CPU, what is the chipset it's called? I forgot that. So i7, I dual core, like what is called? What it is called? I forgot that name. Inside my CPU. Processor. Processor. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, guys. So processor may be of AMD processor, or it may be of Intel processor, or it may be of there are different types in AMD and Intel, correct? So it may differ from system to system. Yes. So similarly, I'm going to have a computational speed. Computational speed. So this will be calculated based on the processor and also the RAM of my system. So this will be differ from system to system. Yes, computational speed will be differ from system to system. Similarly, performance. So performance will be based on the computational time and memory. So memory in the sense it is going to be a either it's going to be a hard disk or it is maybe a CPU, sorry, RAM. So like this. So these are the this is a general blueprint of a single laptop, correct? I'm just taking a laptop as an example, and I'm telling this laptop can hold this type. So which type I'm going to hold? So this is a variable for it, which is representing the type of my laptop, correct? And the hard disk is also going to be another. Okay, just maybe I can do a comment of this. So type, and this is going to be a hard disk memory, and this is going to be a RAM memory, and this is going to be a processor type. And I'm also going to hold two methods. One is going to be a computational speed and another going to be a performance. Okay, sir. Whether this is going to be same for all the systems. So right now there are 50 persons in my class. Whether all the 50 persons is going to hold the same laptop with you. No, each one will have their own versions, correct? So we'll be creating my own laptop, correct? So laptop L1, or I'm going to specify as roll number. So like S1. So this is going to be a new laptop. So in this, I'll be holding this. So S1 type, S1 dot type. So maybe I'm considering this as an Asus. And S1 dot memory. S1 dot memory. Sorry. S1 dot memory. S1 dot memory. So this is going to be a 500 GB. Then S1 dot RAM. S1 dot RAM. So this is going to be a my RAM size. So that is going to be a 1 GB. Sorry, 4 GB. So like that, similarly, I can have n number of laptops, correct? So maybe laptop S2 and then laptop S3. Laptop S3. Yes. So this is why this class is called a blueprint of an object. So this is the reason why a class is called a blueprint of an object. Blueprint of an object. So one of your friend has told this answer. So maybe you can scroll up and you can see your friend has suggested. So Saravanan B has given an answer like blueprint for creating an object. So here, which is an object? So in this statement, like laptop S1 equal to new laptop. In this, which is my object? Which one is my object? S1. No, that is wrong. Actually, S1 is not an object. See, S1 is very similar to int A, correct? Here A, what this A is going to do? No, A is just going to point the reference where the memory has been created, correct? This integer is a type which is going to create a memory, and that memory is going to be referred to that variable A, correct? A will hold the address where this memory has been created. Just it is going to be a reference variable, correct? A is going to be a reference variable. A memory will be created inside my main memory, and the reference of that memory will be pointed to A. So A will just hold the reference of that memory. Is that true or not? Yes, so that is the actual answer. That is A is just a reference variable. Same in the same way, S1 is just a reference variable. It is just going to hold where the memory has been created. Where the memory. So new is nothing but a keyword which is used to create a memory. New is a keyword which is used to create a memory. To whom I'm going to create? For this laptop. So for this laptop, I'm going to create a memory. So that is the actual. So this is my actual object. So new laptop is my object. And the reference of this object is stored inside my S1. So S1 is nothing but a reference variable. S1 is nothing but a reference variable. Reference variable. Yes. So new laptop is my actual object. And what is this laptop? What is this laptop? Laptop before S1. What is this laptop? So what is this int before A? It's a data type. Similarly, this laptop is the type of my variable S1. Yes, it is a user defined data type. So it is a data type. That's it. So this is the explanation for this. So here, new laptop is my object and S1 is just a reference variable and laptop is the type of this variable, type of this reference variable. This S1 is going to hold the variable or it is going to hold the object of a new laptop. So new laptop is the actual object. Yes, guys. And each object, so each S1, each object is going to represent the individual object. So maybe you can see right now. So book is a generalized form. As you guys, as your friends have suggested, like book is a general class, which is going to be a template of my object. But what type of book right now before me? I'm having a specific book. So the same book will not be available for all. Correct? So it may be uh, a, a storybook of some person, or it may be of a study book of some language, or it may be of any specific book. I cannot, in general, we are telling it is a book. So book is a class. The book which I'm holding in my hand is the object of that class. Can you all able to relate it? So this is why this class is called a imaginary part, or it is called as a template of an object. So class is called as a template of an object, and object is the real-time entity which is going to use this class to set the properties and the functions. Do you guys able to understand what is class and what is object? What is class and what is object? What is class and what is object? Do you guys have any doubts in it? See, I can see many person has joined late, and I also shared the link for my Google Classroom. Guys, please remember, I'm just going to see for the duration of your time you are inside the session. And in the first session itself, I have told you, if you are less than 40 minutes, then you will be considered as an absent. So as you can see, I'm separately maintaining the attendance sheet. I hope you are aware of that. Please don't tell that, sir, my attendance percentage is very less during the time of exams. I can't do anything. Or if you're ready to pay your fine and you are ready to take your assessment, then that's your wish. If your attendance percentage is below 80, you will not be able to attend your final exam. I hope you all know that. Below 75, I think so. Below 75 or below 80, I don't know. If your percentage is below that, then you are not eligible for attending your assessment, your final exam. Please keep that in mind and attend the class properly. Yes. Okay, guys. So with this, I'm closing the session today. So let's see the remaining topics in the next session by tomorrow. Yes. If you guys have any doubts, you can ask me now. Yes, any doubts? Okay, guys. So if you have no doubts, then you can wind up the session. So thank you all. Thank you for joining the session. So if you have any doubts, you can ping me. You can ping me in the WhatsApp. Thank you all. Thank you.